All right, welcome everybody. It is June 8th, and this is a Brave Alliance meeting, fireside, whatever you want. We got some patch notes yesterday. Not quite as much detail as we hoped for when we planned the meeting, but I wanted to go ahead and take this time with everybody. And yeah, sure, we can call it a State of the Alliance. We'll have a little bit of that, but I really wanted to get into the discussion um, of the patch and just plans that we do have, things that we're doing now, and then what the next month or so would look like. I did want to take 1 minute. It's June, so it is Pride Month. So we just want to celebrate diversity and within the alliance, and we have groups within the alliance to. And I should have typed this out, and I didn't. But fly your rainbow flags this month. Um, I'm glad everyone's part of Brave. All right. So right now, the first thing for status, we did want to go ahead and move the beacon to 3, this is our kind of threat beacon. Partly due to the renewed pressure we've seen in Catch and on our allies in Faith Wallace, and also I just want everybody to be generally ready, a higher readiness state than we've been in. We've kind of been relaxed, but with new pressure on Catch and the patch and all these changes, we need everybody to be ready to support strategic fleets or skirmish fleets where we're pushing back, have their doctrines ready, and be training dreads as always. So that's like the super minor update. Let me get into the patch notes, and then we'll get into some Q&A. And hey, Hog from Pockfin, and I got some notes for you too. All right, so let's go to the patch. Let me give you a link if you haven't seen them. I'm sure you have. Just so everybody has the notes on hand. There's the note. All right, so the first thing I want to do is Torindo, Ohio. Yesterday or right before the patch, I had challenged everybody to who was going to guess the biggest unannounced change. So Torindo guessed that carriers were going to get a buff, and so with the new fighters and grumping and the MJD, I think Torindo was. There was a number of other ones, but I think that was the biggest unexpected thing. So Torindo, I promised some Plex, and I'll send it after the fireside. So congrats to you. So the most immediate impact in terms of our SOV and things like that is that we will be updating our POCOs to skyhooks. And so skyhooks are the new way for us to get resources off the planets. And first thing we need is the reagents, which I hope I'm saying that right. And that's the lava and ice planets will have special reagents. So we're already have in build. We already have in build the components that were just released for the first 20 skyhooks. All of that was done based on P4 and materials that the Alliance has collected from members. So that's all ISK going back in. So we're well prepared for all these changes. And then once we get those and we get the reagents going, we will need to prepare for more than 100 more skyhooks for other planets. And the big thing is, and upgrades, SOV upgrades, is we need planetary interaction. So I'm going to say that here, and I'll say it more, particularly if you can do P4. We expect prices to spike all over, and I much rather the Alliance be paying our members for P4 than for us to be having to import that. And also, I know our allies are already looking around for P4. So we've done a good bit of hoarding ourselves, and we've got some members that have done some hoarding and some corporations. But I think we'll need to keep that going. So if you sell your P4 on market, we're trying to do some buyback programs with the corp tools and asking the other corps to do it too. And or just sell it to us on marketplace. You can poke me if you've got a bunch. Because yeah, we have a lot to upgrade. So we'll first we're gonna do the reagents. So that's gonna help us collect the Man, super ionic. These are new words for me. Ice, and that's going to be needed for antiplexes and super caps production. And then we need the lava for
Find me a
uh,
bucket.
we need the lava for Metanux drills. That's the passive mining. We'll talk a little bit more about, and and the Sino upgrades and the Sino suppression upgrades. So we'll get those going with the skyhooks. We're going to start collecting that as soon as we can. We still don't know how much is needed for anything, so that was something I was hoping we were going to have as details. It sounds like there's hints that it's going to be more difficult to maintain the number of ansiblexes that people have. There were some hints of that in the stream, but we don't have any numbers to confirm that. I think we are in a good situation in terms of the number of antiplexes we need, but it really is going to come down to how much power is required in different systems, and how much of these reagents are required. If we can maintain the current network, I have a feeling we'll probably have to go down some. Reagents is not a word I use at work. Sorry, reading chat while I should be talking. Um, all right, so for the solve transition, we are definitely going to hold. There's no rush. We still have no math. We can't change anything till June 20th anyway, and I think we will take at least to July, and we'll keep everyone updated. So the there's different things that have to happen. We have to get all of our skyhooks in place. We have to figure out what the systems are and how much power all the different what our systems can support and what kind of design we want to do. And once we have numbers, we will work with both the corporation leads, and we have a couple different kind of working groups that are forming that will kind of like look at how we can optimize our space. But we have until November to make any of these changes, and particularly if there's anything negative that because like K7D doesn't have a blue star, anything like that, we would take that into consideration before making any big changes. We will have an area, access to an area that Imperium. They've announced that they're going to change over the O5K O5K-Y6 constellation. I have a link for you in chat. They're going to transition that really soon, and so then they'll be able to test out some of the different upgrades and things like that. Let me get you that link. I'm not really getting into the upgrades today, but there's a lot of different mining upgrades and routing upgrades, and I think it'll really come down to the power resources and the workforce that it takes to run these things, to how we can design our space. I think they're going to make us choose. I don't know anything for sure. I could see something like maybe K7D could stay the capital, but then there might be poor ratting and no mining to do that. And whereas if you had a system with high power and a bunch of the different planet types, you might be able to um, do everything, a little bit of everything. So in the transition, in terms of soft transition, there is definitely some hurry up and wait some more, and depending on how these things look and the cost and what it's going to do to our space, will dictate how fast we go. If this is a really tough transition for us, then we would go slow and do it before we needed to, but we'd get ready. If it looks really enticing, then we would try to go faster. But I was hoping to get some of those details yesterday. We didn't get enough to make those decisions. We did get enough to know how much P4 we need for everything. I'm going to hit on this again. We have like upgrades right now for ore and ratting almost in every iHub. All of those will not be transitioning to the new one, so we're going to have to rebuild all those. So that's even more PI that we're going to need from the alliance. And the pace that we produce all of that would also affect our timeline. All right, let's talk about the carrier changes real quick. So right now we have not used carriers very much at all, and we don't have any immediate plans. But the Grump in particular, this is the conduit with other where you can take subcap pilots. That looks like it might have some interesting applications. So if you have a carrier pilot that's not training anything else, you could train jump portal generation 5, and then there will be a new skill that's a long train to be able to take advantage of that. So that would be where you could take, I think, fully skilled. I can't remember, it's 30 or 50, but your carrier can take those pilots and project them as far as a cap can jump, which is farther than a Titan can jump. So there might be some interesting defensive 30 is what Adrian's saying. There might be some interesting applications for how we could defend things um, with with an initial carrier drop like that, Grump. Um, So yeah, we will look at, and then there's some other things like carrier spearfishing, things like that. We're not exactly sure where that's going to go. If you were on the Imperium Fireside, uh, they did have warning for any Rourke pilots that are in Beehive. They're concerned that if you're in a regular asteroid belt, there might be a way that you could get um, micro jumped with the carrier spearfished off of a rock to panic. So they were recommending people to panic as soon as a carrier, blue or enemy, lands on grid. So if you're a Rourke pilot doing that, definitely make sure you're paying attention to how that can do. Beehive is definitely the safe place to be doing those things. Other than that, for the patch notes, so the skins. So for skins, we will try to have some kind of brave skins and design, and that it would go to support the alliance. We'll see how it works out. The one thing I know, the one rule that I did want to have firm is we're not going to have a bunch of spam for skins. So we're going to make one channel that's going to be where people can do their skin trading. I'm super interested in seeing people's awesome designs. I don't want the alliance chat to be filled with people trying to sell their uh, skins. Um, yeah, sell their pelts. Two PvE updates that affects some of our members. So Pokvin, if you're not in that group, they used to run Ishtars a lot. So F's in chat for Hogtit's favorite ship, because it looks like they're going to have to make some changes. Triangle Dreams, they will. I'm sure they're going to come up with the best way to interact with Pokvin and still get that ISK out of there. So if you're in Triangle Dreams or you're interested in Pokfin, please do join that. And finally, I did want to plug the Homefront operations. We've had some Kiwi and Jesse Royal, I think, in Brave Empire running the Homefront operations, which is in high sec, but actually a decent amount of ISK. And I guess there's some sites that have not been as popular, and those are getting a buff as well. So if you're in Empire or have an Empire tune, that might be something to look into as well. Okay, so um, with that, I can look at start doing questions. I want to just change. I mean, sorry, there's pings happening. I should have muted. I should finish everything saying we want more dreads, more dread pilots. Uh, Naglfars are out of flavor. I was kind of hoping that some patch would come in and save them, but that doesn't look like that's going to happen. So basically, any dread pilot that you can add to the fleet is appreciated. Not Naglfars. Right now, we're running a program to get Naglfar pilots into Zerns. And we got free books for that too. So you can reach out to GingX if you're in the cap group and you are looking for a Zern skill books. Okay. Bryce Remington asks, so I can do questions in Fleet Chat if you want. Bryce, do we still have plans for defensive umbrella? So we always want to defend our space the best we can. Right now, the best umbrella is the Beehive umbrella, and until we hit kind of the critical mass, and that's probably a better option right now. It's definitely on the desired, but in the future timeline. You guys can put other questions in chat if you like. We'll be looking to change all customs office to skyhooks or K70 and work outwards over time. So the customs office, um, first we will doing all lava and ice planets, and then right before the change, we'll be doing all power planets and all workforce planets. I think that covers most of the types. There might be some that doesn't, and if um, we would not convert the ones we didn't have to, but yes, we're planning to have to convert everything. It really depends if like there's if workforce if you don't need to maximize workforce, then we might not do all of those. But I think power we will need every bit we can do. Malin asks how you get your P4 into new builds. If you have some, Yondu could probably buy it, or Brave Newbies does have corp projects. We probably need to update them, particularly with what we saw on the last day. We will put some more out and continue buying P4. So, are there plans for Brave corporate design skins? Yes, I heard though that the corporate uh, having like a corporate, they're all going to be per pilot right now designs, and then later they might allow there to be corporate designs or alliance skins. So right now, I would try to do a design um, that it would probably mean holding, and then all the ISK would go to the alliance. Are we expecting a lot of content on the theft of these resources? I think we will be able. We will see some defense of that, but of course, we only have three constellations, so I think that'll be some pretty easy content for us to respond to. You know, instead of just ESSs being hit, then we would be they'd also be able to hit these and we'd have to go to respond. And they've got some interesting mechanics where I guess there's a Sino jammer up, so you have to get into system. You can't just bridge right on top of them, but then they're more locked down on the grid. So we'll want to protect all of those things. We do see some space work. We've asked for recruits for Brave Post Boys before, and we've got a list of people who have volunteered. If you're still looking to volunteer, we could use Brave Post Boys because we are going to have to move these reagents around and keep things fueled. Osbar, I don't have the current link for the P4, but if you join the hashtag PI in Slack, I'm sure they can get that for you. It looks like Yondu linked it later. Al is asking for have a design contest. Yeah, we'll probably do something like that. We actually had the contest for the 11th birthday. I have the sticker thing that's supposed to go up to the merch website. I'm going to get that in the next week or so. I'm tardy on that, and I have some awards to give out for that too. Is there a SIG we can join to perpetrate theft of these resources? There are definitely SIGs that are going out there, but we'll probably want everyone to be poking at other resources. Yeah, the big question to me is, there's a lot of desire for these moon drills, and then obviously we have a desire for ansiblexes. So it's going to be how much can we run, kind of like on a base of what our space provides, and then how much would we have to import? Because I don't think we'd want to set ourselves in a situation that we'd have to import. We want to be it'd be nice to be neutral. But really, in terms of the theft of the resources, it's going to depend on if those things are. Do you have to kill it to get it, or can you get them? I guess they've got the timers. Yeah, so they do have theft. So I'm sure we'll see some of that. I don't know if we need a particular sig about it. It's just another place to get content. Can we get a list of which PI3 and PI4 are now in demand? That's pinned somewhere. So PI4, it's all of it. So that's easy. We'll get a list out for everybody that can to highlight it. I don't think we just want all of everything right now, so we're not putting um, a number on it. Any plans on how to distribute the passively mined moon ore from the moon drill? Ah, Cleo, yes, I forgot to talk about. That's the other detail we got. And I missed it in my notes. So the one thing that we did get on the passive moon drill is it's a 40% efficiency. That's actually higher than kind of what I was expecting, what I hoped for a little bit. And to me, it's going to be interesting about you know the balance between like how many of these can you actually run based like on our space, like how many lava resources are we going to have to run these, and so we'll have to figure out. I don't think you're going to want to run 20 of them if you're going to have to be running around to and buying reagents and Jita and importing them, and it's just going to be a nightmare to get a little bit of goo. But if there's a lot where we could run many moons just on our own lava planets, then I think you really have to like look at the math of or like are you doing the active mining or are you going to take the 40%, and then how does that play into the active mining taxes versus 40%? Imperium has declared that they expect all their nullsec moons. Only the Alliance is going to do the passive mining in nullsec, and I think we haven't made any decree, but I think we're leaning that way. If someone's renting a moon, we want them to be getting that extra 60% out and adding that to our economy, not just trying to pocket the ISK. If someone's just going to pocket the ISK or pocket the goo, that would probably be the Alliance. We haven't formalized anything. We'll still look at it, but I don't think like right now we have corporations on R16s, but they're mining those whole things out. And if, as opposed, I don't want those to get turned into 40% going to one corporation and the 60% just being wasted. So definitely more moon organizations to happening and figuring out the rules and how we handle those things. Someone's miking up if they can not do that. More to come on moons, and some of that is to see how the rest of the nullsec environment handles that. We'll probably. I was hoping to see like how many moon drills that we could operate just based on our lava moons, and so it's hard to speculate without any kind of balance. If we need all our lava resources to be able to run a beacon in K7D or have the cyano jammers we need to protect the space, then it's going to make that the passive moon drilling less attractive as well. All right, any other question? Scrolling up a little bit. Uh, Lara's asking about space expansion. So, if for space expansion, we definitely just need to put more people in fleets and have more dreads available. So let's do that before we really talk about more space. And we need to see out how all the patch plays out. Ospar asked if I was the leader of Brave, was in catch. Spiritually, I felt that way, but no, that was Kigali and Dunk. I was the leader of the dojo at the time for Catch 2.0. That's kind of when I rejoined 7 years ago, and I missed Catch 0.10. I was AFK at the time. MCOP8 asked Any chance of having to move the capital from K7D due to the resource allocations? Yes. So K7D has low power, so it only has a yellow sun, I believe, and gas gas planets. And so, to me, that it's going to be if we could have K7D and there might not be any really PVE available, and we can, but if we can run the ANSI and have access to a jammer or the Sino beacon that we need, then we could stay. But if you need more power than the system can provide, then we would have to move. Now, if we had to move the capital, that would be a decision we would delay until much later, because we can run off the old system until November. So it's not really something to worry about. And if we would do it, we would get everything set up in a new system. We would move everything, and then we would swap. It will be it would not. We'd make it as painless as possible. Chronix is saying after the update we can't have an ANSI and Sinojammer in the same system. Um, so I think there's I think we could if there is enough power, and some systems have very high power. I think what you may be referring to, unless I've missed a detail, is that they're saying they're trying to make us make choices. And so there might be enough power to have an ANSI, but then you can't have the option of Sinojammer. Because they're saying even if the cards are offline, there's they take power. So like right now we can have every card in the iHub, we can have every card installed, and we only pay for the upkeep for the ones that are off, and there's no like limit to how many cards you can have other than the types. And whereas now their power is going to determine how many you can actually install. Angry Teapot's asking about if there are plans for Imperium in general to expand beyond the current borders. Uh, so if you were on the fireside just an hour ago, you know, Asher was saying is there someone was asking if there any war imminent, and then other than the pressure that we're seeing in the skirmishes in Catch, and I'm gonna mess up the border in Deterid, not seeing a huge push from us at this point because these changes haven't like occurred fully, so that there's a little bit of that hurry up and wait. Where is Lefty Sock? Lefty Sock is safe in the drawer. Will DC be relinquishing any systems to allow us to move capitals? So we're not definitely move capitals and anything. So there's no plans for that right now. What can we do to make New Bros and ISK poor people get in fleet? Is there a solution? So we have a lot of programs in Dojo to give out ships. I think in the newbie corporations will probably even use the new SRP tool to allow people that are flying the cheap ships to get really fast SRP. And then, but because we're running at the SRP at the alliance scale, I don't really anticipate us using it'd be an extra step for us to like give ISK to the corporations to then give people that lost ships through the project's SRP program. That sounded confusing, and that's what I mean. We're not going to do. So, but like we'll probably support, Atrons or crucifiers. That's something really easy. We can say like, oh, you lost a crucifier. Here's another one. Any anticipated doctrine changes due to the new expansion? I want to ensure my guys are skilled for what we need. So we do want to wait for any patch notes before we made a couple changes a week or so ago. There's some other things that are being looked at, but until we have the full patch notes on Tuesday, I did think there was going to be some subcap changes. Other than the carriers, we haven't seen that so far, but right now, no. But there's a few that are definitely a target, and we will update everybody. The focus for training right now is if you're at the high end, definitely try to get into the Typhoon fleet issue, and if you're lower end, being able to like working towards a battle cruiser, either the Cyclone fleet issue or the Ferox or Ferox Navy, or even just the Caracal or then all the E-War to support that are a little bit lower than that. We- um, so when Dujek is asking when I got pied for the birthday, was he righty sock? And I'm trying to remember. I think the lefty sock's assistant was, I think it was left-handed, but I'm not sure. You could go. You'd have to go see if I mirrored the video or not. So what does leadership think about the new sites that spawn on skyhooks? So we will see what those look like. There hasn't been a ton of details. If people are deciding to drop caps on them, um, then that could be a little bit scary. But the fact of the matter is that the umbrella needs to be able to kill anything that is happening underneath it. And right now, we're not at that level, particularly for the number of dreads and the number of dreads SRP that we need to do to save somebody's crab dread. So I know that's the dream and everybody wants to work at that, but we have to look at the kind of the threat level that the umbrella has to address. And if if we're not able to, you have to over escalate all of that and before it really becomes worth it. Can we do a full SRP on every dictor in the standing fleet? So standing fleet is usually YOLO in terms of any kind of SRP. If a fleet needs to be handled and needs a bunch of dictors, then an FC can ping a fleet and then I'll offer SRP. And dictors have good SRP in fleets. Is there a preference for defense caps? Dreads. If you mean within dreads, probably Zernitras and Revelation Navy issues. Having a mix of Phoenix Navy issues and Moroses is nice too. It changes up the damage types. But if you're getting your first one, either a Zern or Revelation Navy issue is good. Yeah, sorry, Al. No nags. I've got my Naglfar fleet issue that I'm retiring as well. So in terms of getting the first ISK to train into a dread, so it definitely is kind of like that's probably the line between kind of going from a early to a mid level Eve career player. Not I'm not saying in skill, but I'm saying in kind of like in assets and in training. So um, I once you can afford the dread, then um, it becomes a lot easier. But yeah, we'll look at different ways to get people in dreads. We've done different kind of incentive programs in the past. Right now, we're working on caching capitals for our own SRP purposes, and we'll announce more about that after the patch as well. No more vertical supremacy, unfortunately. Rev Navy is definitely being used. Yes. So Brave Empire, we have been pushing P4 projects, but most of their projects are going to be focused on high and low sec. If you're ready to make the jump to null sec, there are a lot of corporations within the collective that can offer the null content. But Brave Empire has done a lot for gathering both um, the R4 goo and the sorry, and the P4. So there's too many numbers and acronyms. Would there be a fire sale for nags looking for cheap cap to kill NPC caps? I mean, so we did conversions with the cap drop. We don't want people to buy new ones, but if you're dropping them, we prefer they drop long range. and we might look at an upgrade program for them later once people have something else trained. We did get people training into Zerns. That was the first step of that. When did the RNI go above the PNI? A blingy PNI is tankier than a blingy RNI, but the PNI, there's concerns about the missiles and tie-dye. I think they've actually operated pretty well in the last few flat fights, but that's always been a fear. And just the revelation in its base resistance is just so good. But a blingy Phoenix Navy issue, I think we had one that tanked more. I think they had high grade. They high grade. What are they called? Nirvanas. There we go. The high grade Nirvanas, and that tanked more than any other dread. So that was pretty nice. Oh, Spicy says after we're done here, there is going to be a fun fleet. So um, could be a nice big fun with handouts. So if you want to go on a nice big fun fleet, there'll be one immediately after here. Yeah, so like when Magnus, you're saying the high grade Nebron and PNI. So definitely, like if we're going to low sec, like we had those fights in Abazon, then taking those high grade Nirvanas is a lot better decision than it's a little dice here if you're going to go in null sec. Yeah, I'm sure K7D will get cleared of this invasion. I wasn't going to let that put aside our conversation right now. I was asked if dread prices will go down. I think they should go down once everyone starts mining the upgrades, and also kind of a side effect is the low sec gas is getting taken out of pirate battleship. Well, all pirate ships, subcap ships, I should say. So that could bring down cost, and then isogen and other materials should come down a little bit. I don't know if they will, how far they will go down. So, what train it first and then buy it, and then buy your second one. All right, so definitely with the oh, Magnuscripts asks, do we know what the Imperium stance on the Faith front is? Yeah, we're gonna fight wherever we need to fight. Shadow, Ultimatum, and Sigma and Fanatic Legion are, they're living in Esoteria and a little bit in the Faith front. So we're going to support them. We already have some people that are helping them do some ADMing down there. We might put some Brave Bucks in a couple systems just to help them. And that's kind of like the far front. The Panda Fam has set up kind of like a line from Catch all the way to Omist, kind of anticipation of these changes that they're trying to stop any kind of incursion path that we could have. But Tri and G Club and NC are staging near Dead or Red. It's like 5 regions that are regionals that are all very, very close. But there's fighting over there, and it's been some good fights in the last couple of days. Do I have a view on the distribution of war types across our systems for the new or SIGs? So I think once we have full details about how much these cost and the power required is really going to decide how much we're going to do. The thing will be, particularly with how these interact with ADMs, we can't just make all the systems mining because we will need them to be maintained for ratting, and so we have to look at all those trade-offs. I think we would try to have a couple systems that have the nice ORSIG, that have the upgraded ratting, but until we know the full details of what those trade-offs are, how high of a trade-off it is, that's fine. Yeah, Malin mining does, but it's much more difficult. So like if you had one system with no ratting, almost no ratting, then you would have to mine it you have to mine it much more effort, player time than you do to have to rat it. So, but Again, this comes down to we don't know what the install costs, the power to upkeep this. So there could be systems. Worst case, there's systems that can't really maintain much of either. Some systems might be able to maintain both. So I was hoping to have those details before this conversation. They weren't ready to share them yet. Sorry about that. And it's June, and I have a cold. I don't know why. So sorry for the raspy voice and sniffling if I am doing that on comps. Will there be another fireside on the 11th? No, not there will not be a fireside on Tuesday. So we will talk at join the Equinox Patches News and Rumor channel. We'll have pings. We'll probably, like I said, we're gonna have a few people that are looking at this from different perspectives. So speak up in the Equinox News and Rumors that Val just linked, and we'll look at everything. I'll take people's well thought out manifestos on how we should set up their space, or if different groups want to look at it. And of course, we'll have our own perspective, and we're working with our corporations on that too. All right. So some general reminders. First of all, thank you for all being here today. Thank you all for being brave. We really need to get ourselves and all our friends into fleets and supporting our FCs. We've gotten some really good fights in the last few days, and it all depends on us showing up and us bringing our friends along and having our ships ready to go, and having reships ready to go to win these fights. Really nice fight in a catch in Chinese time zone. They thought they dropped some dreads, and we were able to. Aha was able to keep tackle. A lot of hero tackle in that fleet, but the battle report looked pretty nice from my perspective. So if we want to push that to the next level, then we just have to not only bring ourselves or bring an alt, we have to bring some friends too. So thank you all for being brave. Happy Pride Month, and we will talk more soon. Thank you all.